What's up, mi gente? It's Anthony Rosa, Mr. Remedy, and you are watching another show on the Roundtable Remedies, and I'm super excited for our show tonight. We're talking about the power within compassion. You heard it right. All month long, we're talking about compassion. And what I want you to think and take a moment about what compassion means to you. And not so much about you being compassionate to others. Think about, are you compassionate to yourself? So tonight, I have some amazing speakers. These are my brothers that are on the show. We're going to be talking about the power within. And in speaker rotation, I would like for them just to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about them.
My name is Reverend Bolivar Flores, and I'm the VP of the New Jersey Latino Pastors and Ministers. We oversee more than 400 churches statewide. Also, I serve as a chief of staff for the New Jersey Reentry Corporation, former Governor James McGreevey, and I have a radio show called Open Conversation with Reverend Flores. I write in two books. I come from Dominican Republic. I hope that the audience have a compassion with me in this. And I'm happy and I'm proud to be tonight here with my friends Anthony de la Rosa and with the entire team here. And thank you, Anthony. Thank you so much for having me in your show.
Absolutely, Rev Bolivar. Thank you so much for joining us. And then next in speaker rotation, Giandy.
Thank you, bro. I'm Gianni Reyes. Thank you for having me once again. And it's always been a pleasure meeting you. And I'm just Gianni. I come from New York. What can I say? I moved to Jersey when I was 14. I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own podcast, Day One Podcast. You guys should check it out. Just a leader creating more leaders because I feel like this world doesn't lack of leadership. But also, I'm here to help others accomplish your dreams, help people accomplish their dreams, see paths, be that light in their life, and inspire others. Thank you, bro.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming on. And then anchoring us in tonight, Frank.
How is everybody? Frank Callow here. I'm a film producer and director, and I've been in the business for so many years now. And this is my fifth time, I think, with you, Anthony. And we've developed a really good working relationship with other outside activities other than this. And I'm an honor to be here. And what I'm happy to see is we're all first time I've seen on the show is besides me and Anthony's, we're all Latino, and a lot of my films, I believe in, giving back to the Latino community. It's very important, both male and female. I believe in that. I had a strong mother who believed in that, and we're passionate people. We're compassionate people, and it's good to see that. I'm glad to meet you, Reverend, and I'm glad to meet you, Jenny, and I wish you guys all the best of luck in whatever you do. God bless you both.
Thank you.
All three of you. Yeah.
Well, a great way to start the show, with compassion and gratitude. I want you all to think about, what do you think of when you think of being compassionate, right? And the definition of compassion is showing sympathy or pity or concern for the suffering or misfortune of others. I mean, I think that we can all agree in today's day and age that there's a lot going on. And, I think that especially for men, right, for our show, Roundtable Remedies was created to inspire, connect, and educate individuals on how to be a better version of themselves. And so during the show, I want you really guys to just process and unpack and self-reflect on what compassion means to you, right? What compassion means to me sometimes is the innocent bystander approach, right? Expecting someone else to do something when you have the ability to do it. And in this electronic era, this day and age with everybody with their phones, right? When something happens, the first thing you see is just them, taking out their phone and recording, or you see somebody in the street homeless, and that's a normal thing, and a lot of these norms are really not normal, right? And so I kind of want to disrupt the system tonight as we're talking about this, and so I'm really excited to talk about it with you all. So Reverend Bolivar, starting us off tonight, what comes to mind when you think of the power within compassion?
And thank you, Anthony. This is a great question for we can reflect and for we can think. And when I see that word, I see myself and others. You can be in a high level position today. You don't know where you be tomorrow. You can be maybe our addiction. You don't know, so you can be in an addiction issue later on. Anthony, you know, I go to school and I can be in the private sector and make a lot of money. But I decide to go to the seminary and help others. because I feel this is my calling. Today, I have the privilege to serve people with criminal record and background. And when they come to us, to our office, they come with no identification. They come with addiction issues. The 86% of the population that have the privilege to serve have addiction issues. They, they come with a broken family. Nobody trusts them. Trust them. And when they sit down with you and they just talk about, disease that they have from HIV disease or addiction disease, and they're crying, they don't have opportunity, the family closed the door, the family don't want to give it to them a second chance. You don't see compassion in a lot of family. But when they come to the New Jersey Realty Corporation, that's what we practice. And that's what we believe. We don't judge people, we help, and we identify ourselves with them. It's a lot of people that feel alone, that don't have opportunity. And when you practice compassion with them, you can change their life. I can talk about Candido Ortiz. Candido Ortiz spent 47 years in the prison system.
Mm-mm.
And when he get out with no identification, with no place to live. And he come to me and he say to me, Reverend, I see you in channel 41 and, and I'm here because I wanted you to help me to open a restaurant. And I asked him to, hey, how much money you have? And he said to me, $100. I said to him, come next Wednesday. In my mind, I think this guy is crazy. How he want to open a restaurant with $100? Right there, I don't practice compassion at all. I think to myself, this guy is Wednesday. I mean, come by Wednesday. So 8:30 a.m. Wednesday, he's there. Next Wednesday, he's there. And I asked him, yes, how can I help you? He said to me, Reverend, you told me come back next Wednesday because I want to open my restaurant. And I asked him to him, how much money you have? He said, $35. Before he have 100, now he have a $35. But today, he's the owner of El Sabor del Café.
Mm.
Today, he provides the food to my participant. He make more than $300,000 a year.
Wow.
He go back. He have a family. He have a wife. He start going to church. He changed completely his life because somebody have a compassion with him to help him go back to the business sector. Give you a
Right.
second chance opportunity. Compassion is giving chances to people, help people. Is it like you mentioned homeless people? You know how many homeless people is in the street? And I always talk to the member of my church. Sometimes you come to church and you want to give you the 10%, but you pass 20 homeless people who don't have food, and you come to church to praise God and want to give you the 10% to the church when that people don't have food, when that people don't have a place to sleep. Where is your compassion? You don't have a compassion at all. You don't know who is God. Our Lord or our high power, he practiced compassion every single day, specifically with me. Okay, I commit a lot of mistakes, a lot of things every single day. Like now, when I see Frank with this beautiful head, I say, Lord, why you don't give it to me? So I don't practice compassion with Frank in my mind. And I love it, by the way, Frank. You have a great style. But that, this is, come to my mind. Somebody had to teach me compassion. Compassion come when I born. How I learning to be compassion to others. Why a lot of people have a lot of compassion and a lot of people they don't know what is compassion mean. As a boss, let me tell you, I have 125 employees. And sometimes employees, take vacation, everybody take vacation together, and I feel alone. And I'm really mad sometimes with my employees. But they sometimes they come to me and say, Reverend, I have an issue with my daughter, I have an issue with my mother, I have to go to the hospital, whatever it is. This is a situation where, as a boss, the leader of the company, I have to practice the compassion and thinking of myself. If my mother is sick, I can't be around work. I have to take care of my mother. It's my daughter, whatever it is. So I think so. We have to talk about more about this topic, and we have to
So
sharing more that gospel. This is Jesus' gospel. A lot of people repeat the same verse from the Bible, and that's great. I don't believe in that. I believe in somebody who lived that. And when you have a compassion, believe me, I don't care what you have. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you practice. If you practice compassion, believe me, that you go to hell. I mean, to heaven.
Mm.
A lot of people who stay in church and you see holy, holy, holy people and don't help nobody and judge people and don't practice compassion, they go straight to hell. Believe me, we know red line. This is go straight because they don't have a compassion. Jesus said, don't talk about the Ten Commandments. It's only two. Love yourself and love your neighbor like yourself. Love God and love your neighbor like yourself.
I mean,
Compassion is about love others. It's about help others. And today, this topic that Anthony put in, Anthony, congratulations. This is great. This is a topic that we have to talk about. Not only here, you have to talk about with your son, with your daughter, with your brother, with your sister, with your neighbor.
it's true.
This is a topic that right now we have anemia. Not a lot of people practice compassion. Some people have a lot of money or have a $500 and they have a daughter, but because they have addiction, they go buy and spend that $500 and the daughter and the mother and the wife don't have food. You think so that person thinking about compassion in that moment? Because they have a disease. We understand that. Because it's a disease. Addiction is a disease. But what happened with me, who I'm sober, who have a good job, who go to church, and don't practice compassion with others? So, Anthony, again,
No,
thank you.
I'm glad that it seems like I stirred something up in your spirit that needed to come out, right? I saw that the both of you, Frank and Giandi, were nodding your head. Reverend Bolivar, I think you started us off on the right track tonight. And you touched on a couple of topics. One that I wanted to point out: how many times we can all kind of put ourselves in your shoes where somebody asked us for help. We didn't really know if we can help them. We thought to ourselves it was probably easier just to brush them off and say, hey, and that's probably what you were doing in the beginning, but not knowing that, hey, you have a compassionate heart. And so when he did come back, you were able to, put two and two together some way, somehow. But I can only imagine how many times do people just get rushed off, right? Giandi, I saw you shaking, nodding your head. What comes to your mind when Reverend Bolivar was talking about that?
He said a key thing, which is judging. A lot of people seek to be understood instead of seeking to understand. So we just that's why I said emotion pillar is so valuable. Look, I can even keep the finger straight because the emotions, you got to be emotionally intact. That he said Jesus' law, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So I feel like we shall treat others how we wanted to be treated, but most people get lost in the motion or they get lost in the moment and make decisions that they soon to regret. That's why I live by decisions made in anger cannot be undone. Even if you feel like cursing somebody out, hitting that person, how would you like if you was on the other end receiving it? But compassion is big though.
I think I was having this conversation earlier, right? It's really easy to cast that second stone, right? And it's really easy, especially like nowadays, right? If you're driving, right? Just someone cuts you off. You have a couple of options. You can just let it go and just keep moving, or you can kind of come to the side and right? Like at that moment, who knows if they're in a rush, right? Maybe they gotta get somewhere, right? But do we show compassion, or are we just quick to react? Frank, what are some of your thoughts on that?
On compassion.
No, just like being quick to react, like just being in the moment. And look, I know you're from Chicago and in New York, and hey, look, it might be ingrained, right? But these are things that are ingrained that we were taught, right?
And what you just said, yeah,
so
what you
passing it to you.
yeah, I like what both all three of whatever you guys said. The key words here are judging and opportunity. Reverend mentioned opportunity as well, judging, and then but compassion is a choice. It's an emotion, but it's a verb. It's an action as well. So we have to choose an action. If you look at it that way, if you look at what is the podcast, it's the power within compassion. Within is the key word to me that rings out to me in your topic of your heading. It's within. It all starts within who we are and what choices and actions we make. Compassion is an emotion, it's an action. And sometimes, to answer your question, I have to make that choice to be compassionate, or I could go the other way and it could turn out ugly, and we don't want that. I learned that's not good for anybody. It's not good for us. So sometimes I have to be, I have to admit this, and this is not a cliche. It's not judging anybody. We're Latin, and I have a temper just like anybody. But I had all my years. I'm probably the oldest one here, but all my years I had to learn how to control that in order to help myself, in order to do that. And so to me, yes, it's a choice. And yes, I always try to say, relax, shut up. I mean, that old expression, that take 10 breaths and then speak, that, remember that old expression? But I do think it's an action, and it's something that we have to choose to do. And it comes from within, like your topic, the power within, compassion. I'll leave that on before I get into the topic of my own. But yeah,
no, for sure. I think what you were talking about
does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, it made absolute sense. I love the point where you kind of talked about, in summary, take a moment to pause before you react.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we all have to do. We have to learn how to do. We choose to do it, and so sometimes we just quick temper. We forget we're human. And but I think I like that word within, and I like the word the Reverend, and then what Jang Jang and I connected that. The Reverend used the words opportunity and judging. Give an opportunity, helping an opportunity, but you got to give yourself within opportunity as well. So, I'll talk about that later when it's my turn.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So next in speaker rotation, Giandi, when you think about the power within compassion, what first comes to mind?
Something so simple, but yet so deep, whoever digests it, is treat others how you would want to be treated, and seek to understand instead of seek to be understood.
Mm-hmm.
But to add a little bit more sauce like that, Frank mentioned within, the power within compassion. I feel as if everything is within us. So that's why we all, as humans, as us men, as leaders, but also everybody as humans, including females and males, we have to get our shit together. Shit to me stands self-love, happiness. Happiness is a choice. Everything is a choice. He also mentioned being compassionate is the choice. All the God gave, Jesus Christ came to give us the free will of life. So it's up to us to do what's right, And then the I stands for inner peace. Peace comes from within. Well, you have to get to know yourself, so therefore you could get to know others. And then T is time management. We can get more money, but we cannot get more time, man. And it's just a pleasure to be sitting here and interacting with you guys, and also seeing your guys' perspective on life. My brother here, Flores, he's a pastor. I'm a strong believer in God, so it's good just conversating, and just the topic is amazing. So thank you for having here, bro. Thank you for having me, bro, on your podcast.
Yeah, no, look, I love that.
Table.
Self-love, happiness, inner peace, time management. I have 5 children, and I don't allow them to use curse words. So I love how you created this act.
How old is that baby now?
Right? Be like, Dad, can I say that? I'm like, I don't know. I got to think about it. But it's really cool. I like that. So I wanted to keep that up for a bit. For those that are watching right now, we encourage you, like, comment, share, engage. What is your story? We're talking about the power within compassion, and sometimes it's easier said than done, right? Sometimes we just don't want to deal with it, and it's okay. I think that in those moments we got to set healthy boundaries, right? So if we don't set those healthy boundaries, then we're not really choosing to love ourselves, right? Because sometimes when you're saying yes to everything, and there's certain things that you kind of like don't want to say yes to, I feel like you got to trust your instincts. When you're talking about the power within compassion, sometimes, like, if somebody's doing something wrong to you, are you going to continue to forgive them and show compassion? No, you got to be tough, and you got to, like, kind of put your foot down and figure out what's the best exit strategy. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. Jandi, I see that you were shaking your head. Is there anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, amazing. I was going to ask you. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I've learned in life, like, I know I'm so, like, people say I'm so young, but I feel like age is just a number, man. Like, people could be older, but age comes with experience, but it just comes with years. But what I wanted to add on, I was shaking my head because I feel as if the hardest things that we must do is what's best for us. Like it's easy to act off of off emotion, but how hard is it to be the bigger person? How hard is it to be the bigger person and take the L at first and turn that other cheek? How hard is it to delay gratification? Everybody wants instant gratification, but the best gratification is delayed, the long
Mm,
term, man. That's
I
all I
like
wanted
that.
to say.
You got to kind of let that simmer. Say that again, Jandy. What did you just say?
Delayed gratification is the best gratification. That instant, that quick dopamine, no bueno. No bueno.
And you
Everybody
know,
want to binge eat, watch TV. Nah. You know what I mean?
and that's what like drinking, we're keeping it real as adults, sex, like that's that dopamine that, and it's kind of like people would do anything for it, right? You would lose yourself just to gain a small amount.
And then shout out to Carlos, because I learned a lot from him, my mentor. He said, if you do what's easy, your life is going to be hard. But if you do what's hard, your life will be easy. That's why I said when you do hard things, your life will be easy. Those hard choices, that choice that you don't want to make, that's called discipline. I feel
Nobody
like.
wants to hear this kind of stuff, though. I mean, if you do what's easy, your life will be hard. Like, no, they want that instant gratification. Are you the type, I'm speaking to those that are watching. If you're watching on the live, please hashtag live. If you're watching on the replay, hashtag replay. But are you the type of person that wants that instant gratification? It's something that I look, if I'm being honest with me myself, yeah, of course, like I'm trying to get my summer body right, and Jandy, that's where you and I really met, right? At LA Fitness. And it's like a 5 a.m. crew, and it's just kind of getting there and holding each other accountable. That's compassion, because sometimes I'm really just going there because I don't want to miss a day.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
respect. Respect.
So, Frank, I know that, you know, you've been on the show a couple of times, and I always have these different titles or themes,
Mm.
right? The power within compassion, from your point of view, right? From an artistic side, and just kind of like me personally knowing you. Sometimes it's hard to really practice compassion. People try to take advantage. How do you set boundaries but really still get what you got to get done within being compassionate at the same time?
Well, I think I like what everybody's saying. I like what the choice of words people are, you, both the gentlemen are saying, and it's it deals with a lot of stuff within, but we're not fools, and you got to learn the difference between compassion and being foolish. You got to learn the difference between
Yeah.
compassion and being used. It's like a relationship that is, if someone's using you, it's a bad relationship. It could be a friendship, it could be a romantic, it could be whatever. It's not good for you. If something's not good for you, then you can't give compassion. It will stifle what you can give, and then you're going to be given pretend compassion, pretentious. You're gonna feel that. You're gonna know that because if you know yourself. And the key word here is, I think, it's everything starts within what we have, who we are. When I had to learn. Agenda used the word leadership, but I'm a strong leader. I'm a very strong leader, but I have beliefs. I have belief in the community. I have belief in people. I have belief in the work that I do. I've been nominated for an Oscar. I won Sundance. But that's my work. I go,
Congratulations, man.
that's my work. That's my work. It's not it's what I do, but I learn how to do that. But at the same time, being a leader, I still learn, like I'm learning today from all three of you, or from the audience. So it's a balance. So just being a leader does not mean I'm a leader. I can't stops me from learning. I'm always learning something, and that's compassion in itself to for myself. And I think that's where it starts from. And I mean, you could stare. I learned a long time ago. I'll just pass this on. Let it go through one ear out the other. And it's if you stare long enough into the darkness is eventually going to stare back at you.
Mm.
And if you stare long enough into the light's going to stare back at you. So
Mm.
that's your choice. Choose.
Amen.
You
Choose.
reap what you sow.
Yes, choose which one you want, and that's the compassion, and it all starts from within. And I don't mean to keep hyping on your title, but it's called the
Okay.
power within. The within, it starts with us. Agenda has his own within. He's 22 years of age, and the Reverend. I love listen to him speak. He's like a real Reverend.
I appreciate it, man.
So it's like, but it's like forgiveness of oneself. I made mistakes along the way. I came from old school. I came from the best. I learned from the best. But I learned like there was no instant gratification. You had to learn. When I got out of film school, you had to learn. I made a choice to be on set all the time for nothing, working for nothing, but rather than work a day job in a restaurant. So that way I'm around it and I learn from the best. I learn from, and times I made my mistake, but the compassion people had. Sometimes you ask me that and within my work experience, some people are not. Some people when I hire a crew nowadays, I want that crew there. That's because I don't know everything. I'm a director. I'm a film producer, but I depend so much on the people that I surround myself with. I don't hire people who don't have compassion. There's a lot of people in our business or even in the world that will, if you fall in the trench, they'll let you lay in that trench and laugh at you. I want people around me I'm going to fall in that trench. Trust me. I want people around that, and like the three of you, to come down and give me your hand and say, "Here, let me help you out of that trench." And that's all of us. That's all of us here, and forgiveness of oneself. I've made mistakes, but I've made mistakes in some of the people who were so uncompassionate. In our business, when you're on the set and you make a mistake, the whole crew's watching you and they go, "Oh man, he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing." But I learned from that. I made a mistake one time, and I won't get into details what it was, but I made a mistake, and I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed. Thank God I was young enough. I was embarrassed. And people were saying, "Oh, he doesn't know what he's doing." But what I did is I said, "Okay, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? And then I learned how to fix it. I learned how to not do that ever again. But learning how to fix it means understanding what I did wrong from within. And then the next time, that same situation, maybe 2 films later, it happened again. But that time, I was able to do it and react to it because I learned from it. And then get everybody in that set said, "Oh man, that guy, he knows exactly what he's doing. Oh, he knows what he's doing." You see what I'm saying? So we learn from that, and you learn to forgive yourself. You learn to pick yourself back up. Yes, I was hurt by that because I made a mistake and it was my fault. But you learn from that. And then compassion is what is forgiving. If you can forgive yourself, then you can forgive others. And to answer your question, going back, I just came back from LA. And this is striking. Reverend, you probably could answer better than this, or you could comment on this after I'm done. And you tell me your thoughts on this. I lived in Los Angeles, and a long time ago, back when it was all, Los Angeles was Los Angeles. It was sweet. It was great. But nowadays, there are some people who you want to help or that you're used to helping, like the homeless. And they're not the homeless that you used to be. There's like saying, "Get me, or I'm going to spit on you and give you HIV." That's a lot of the homeless doing. That's what they do. I was surprised by that. I said, "Whoa." Now here in the city, man, my wife and I, we see somebody. We always have neighborhood people. We always make sure if we have it, we give it. It could be $1, it could be $2, it could be 50 cents, whatever. And I don't expect anything in return with that. I just want to give it. It's giving back. And it strikes your conversation, Anthony, about don't be used, we're not fools, and don't allow yourself to be foolish just because somebody's spiritual or religious or something. Jesus and God was not fooled. They were not fools. They knew where they stood. They by one thing, they knew who they were, and they knew who they represented, and they knew what the compassion they could give. If they couldn't give it, they'll do miracles and make wine out of water, So, but the thing is, but you have to be able to give it to yourself in order to give to somebody else and understand why you get it. And when you do it, I believe in giving back. I give back to a lot of young talent. Because in this business and my business, you get hurt sometimes. And there's a lot of people, teachers sometimes you don't know what you're doing. You should never be in it, because that's their power, that's their control. But I don't believe in, I believe in educating the young with giving back and encouraging talent. And that's the same thing, encouraging talent. Teachers should be compassionate. They're nurses and doctors. Nurses and let's say workmen, nurses, teachers. They're compassionate. They're giving back. They're giving us an education. Good teachers, because they love what they're doing. And Reverend, you could jump in on that too if you want, please.
Absolutely. And I believe that that when you practice compassion, at the end of the day, this will be beneficial for yourself. You feel happy, you feel free, you help others. Now, when people, when you help, let's say Anthony, and Anthony, you think that Anthony be abused of you or whatever it is for whatever reason it is. I think so. We have to understand that maybe Anthony is sick. Anthony don't have love. Anthony have some type of addiction or disease. Anthony is angry with life because maybe for him and the situation that he live in this moment, he don't feel that the Lord love him, that the family love him. So us who practice compassion have to understand that that person is in pain,
Mm.
that that person is angry with life, that that person maybe is not in the same situation economically or whatever it is that was. That's the first thing. Now, when I do something for someone and they come back, especially my population that I have the opportunity to serve, people that, you know, go to jail and come back and go to jail again and come back, they use a lot of excuse. Sometimes you help them to have a job. They lose the job and they say, well, I lose the job because my boss used a perfume that I don't like it. Or whatever excuse is. But because that, I understand maybe they don't want to work or maybe they want to continue in the social service that the government provides to them and stuff like that. And I understand sometimes in my personal level, when my sister loved vacation. And when she know that I don't have vacation, I don't do vacation. I work for 10 years without vacation. And she called me and she said, "Bro, I'm depressed, and I feel depressed, and I feel alone. Can you pay a ticket for me?" I know she tried to abuse. You know what I said to her? Well, and that you feel alone, go to the psychiatric, go to psychology, come to me with church, let's pray together. So it's always a way that you
Mm.
know and you can do it when somebody tries to abuse. Let's say, see, I ask him to friend for $5, and I don't pay that $5 back to Frank in the next 3 years. And I come back to Frank and I say, Frank, can I have $10 more? Can you loan me $10 more? What is my answer to Frank? Give you the $10, say, Frank, or Frank say to me, Bolivar, I don't have a bank yet, but when I have the bank, when I open my first bank, you will be my first client. Always you have to respond in the right way. And when somebody try to lie to you, when somebody try to using you. But at the end of the day, what is important? When you practice compassion, it's beneficial you at the end of the day. The Lord talk about when you give you something to someone, I be paid to you back. The Lord be paid to you back. I believe in that.
Yeah, and it makes you
And I
feel
come
good. Yeah.
from Anthony, I come from a really poor family where Mondays to Saturday, my mother cook white rice, beans, and fried chicken. And Sunday, she cook beef. Only Sunday because it's Sunday. That's it. And sometimes we have to save in money or food for the night because we don't have money to cook in nighttime. So I come from that background. And the Lord blessed me a lot, and thanks God and bless my family a lot. So when I see
Amen.
somebody specific hungry, my it's like a light. My compassion comes right
Right.
away. When
Because
I
you can
see
relate.
somebody
Yeah.
in addiction, my compassion comes right away. When I see somebody with you know not have a job and stuff like that, I it remind me my father in a situation like that. So I identify myself with the situation that the person live. It's crazy, but that's the reality.
Now, I
Um,
got a question for us, and whoever wants to answer this. But regarding compassion, right? From being men here, right? eh, Where do we learn compassion from, right? Especially in homes where in inner cities where there's not men to show other young men how to
hmm,
be compassionate, right? So for me, I grew up, in a single parent background. I'm Puerto Rican Dominican descent, and my mother, she was a factory worker, and then she was a nanny, and so she would work really long hours. And I grew up really quick, and we were born in Jamaica, Queens, and that's kind of like, until I came to Jersey. And so been there, done that. I seen that, and I'm a statistic, I say, because I could have easily fell through the cracks, and so I wanted to know, what are you guys, where does compassion, where did it come from for you guys? Like, was it a male figure? Was it a female figure? Was it just kind of going through the ringer a lot? Or are you still learning how to be compassionate?
I like to hear what Gender says about that. What's your thought on that, Jen?
Me?
Yeah.
um, to answer your question, I'm sorry, I'm just writing down. Like I'm a strong believer in thinking on paper.
Yeah,
And I like about what you said, Frank,
I got it
about
right here.
focusing on the
I
light.
got my notes right here.
Okay.
I got mine right here too.
Otherwise, you're gonna forget.
Exactly. But me, I feel as if everything is based on the foundation. So everything starts within your household, how you're raised. So I would just like to thank my father and my mother, because I grew up my parents were always together their whole life. That's why I value loyalty and respect. So being compassionate, just everything starts from the house, man. Everything is based on a foundation. Like Flores, no sé decir tu primer nombre, pero te voy a decir Flores. He's a pastor, and I'm a strong believer that in the Bible, in the chapter of Luke, it says building a solid foundation. Like when Jesus is the rock, if you build your foundation around Jesus, no matter what storm, no matter what happens in your life, you're always going to be firm. But if the foundation is weak, he said he shakes it and breaks it down. So everything lands in the foundation, man, from the beginning up. That's why you have to know people's story. Seek to understand, not to be understood, man. And that compassion just from your family, like how you were raised. That's all I have to say.
No, I like that. So you have the non-broken home experience, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? For me, I thought that a single parent background is normal, right? I'm like, I think I can only think of one or two relationships that from adolescent until now that their marriages didn't,
No,
I'm not saying that they were perfect.
Yeah,
but still,
yeah. I mean, I don't want to get confused. Like there was a lot of bumps and stuff on the road.
Of course.
I remember. I remember being 5 years old, bro, in New York, 177. I will never forget because like he said, he's Dominican, tu sabe, bro. I will never forget. My mom's brother came. It was like 10, 12 of us, bro, in one apartment with one bedroom. My grandma always lived with me till she passed away. RP to her. And it was like, we were sharing one bathroom with like 10 plus human beings, but my parents overcame that. So just seeing my dad came when I was born, just so like seeing their story and witnessing it as I pick up their brains, because I don't know, I like to talk, but I also like to listen. So it's just like obstacles and adversities are made to test your faith. How strong are you? How bad do you want it? But everything's not sweet. But most people, they just want to see the glory. They just want to see the light, but they don't want to know about the process, what it came to make that light.
I think so. I agree. Yeah, Frank, what about you? What is your perspective from a male's perspective? Compassion.
Yeah,
where did it come from?
It's funny. I have a strong mother. Only I had to go out and learn how to be a man by myself. The reason why is because I was raised by my 5 sisters, my mother, and my grandmother. So all female. So on one hand, I was never afraid to talk to women. I learned, and they taught me well. Don't think because I was the only boy that I was. No, they beat the shit out of me, man. And they taught me well about that. I learned how to talk to women. I know how to talk to them. When we had school dances, when we were kids, and I'll be dancing with all the girls and all my friends. They were all little. They go like, "Oh, go tell her I want to dance." I go, "You go tell her." And then if I liked her, I'm gonna tell her. I'm gonna dance with her, So, but then I had to go out and learn how to be a man. I had to learn how to shave. I had to learn how to do this, and that's a private thing. That's a private thing because we were taught, and especially again in my generation, we're taught, the male is a strong force, and it's not. We're all equals. The women to me are one of the most strongest women in the world. If you mentioned something, Anthony, about falling in the cracks. If it wasn't for my mother, I could have fell through the cracks. But she made sure, with no education, come from the old country, that we all had education. We all went through college. But she gave us choices, and whatever we did, it could have been a shoe shine boy. We all had to learn how to make money. She taught us how to make money. Because you have to go out and learn how to make money. I had a paper route. I had this. I did this. And it felt good because you could go out and buy things. And compassion, I think it's I hate to say this, but sometimes I believe it's innate. It's in us. It's in there.
True.
And we have to choose, because my mother was a very passionate person. She was a very compassionate person. She was always helping like other families, and we had people that are, like you said, Gendra. I had people, my cousin, my aunt. She had five, and again five. She had five primas de mí. They were all cousins of mine, but they were all female. So my aunt was having a hard time. So my mother said, "Come on, live over here." So there I go. I have five more girls who were my cousins, and then but they were all compassionate. I think it was, and Jenna, you said foundation. This start, I believe, it did start with the foundation of what my mother gave us all. But then when you go into the real world, once you get out of your house, it's a whole different thing. You have to learn. It's a learning process. It's a learning, but you have to have it. There's some people who don't have it, and as they're the criminally, whatever. But it's a choice, and you learn how to give it back. I'll say this one time, because we're always boxing. We had boxing class. I was taking karate class, and one time this he's like 3 years older. He's my older sister's friend, and we were and we were surrounded by a lot of people, and he was boxing with me, because we had a boxing class and stuff, and he was letting me beat him up. And he was laughing and going, and I'm like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like a young kid. And then stupid me being stupid went around and told him, "Oh, I beat up the big guy. It hurt." And then I went around saying that, bragging, "Oh, yeah, I beat him up. Oh, yeah, I got it. Oh, yeah, I did that. And he goes, "Frank." And then one day he got me in the alley and he goes, "Frank, you're telling people you beat." I said, "Yeah, I did. I beat you up, man." And he goes, "No, I let you." And I go, "No, I beat you up." He goes, "All right, let's go at it right now." I said, "Yeah, you want to go at it?" One punch, he just knocked it. He just knocked it into me. And I felt it in my nose. I went, I said, "Oh shit." It's like you had to learn that. And he was being compassionate. He was letting me look good because I was a younger brother. I was a younger.
It's a good story.
And that's how I'm relating to what you were saying, a foundation. So, and that comes from within your community as well. Outside of who your friends are and who you choose not to be. We all knew who was good and who wasn't bad, and you chose to be bad. Or sometimes you couldn't help it. Sometimes peer pressure just gets in the way. And the Reverend mentioned a very important word, I think, opportunity. Where was the opportunities? Where, if it wasn't for in my South Side Chicago, it's a tough neighborhood. It's just like anywhere else. No different than anybody else growing up. Sports was big for me, sports and my mother pounded education into our heads. If it wasn't for that, on the, who knows? We all could, like you said, Anthony, we all could have fall through the cracks, and we didn't have the opportunity. So how did I get to do what I'm doing now? I had to go create my opportunities, and I have mentors. I have mentors who are really true mentors and help me on each level. And when I was ready to pass on to the next level, find a next level mentor, that old mentor said, "Good for you. That's where you got to go next." They didn't say, "Well, I taught you that," or you left me, and I didn't, you don't leave them. But I'm just saying, each one carries you through that spiral into the next world, to the next level. And that's part of foundation. That's part of the opportunity. They gave me the opportunity. I had to go out. Nobody was in the film business in my family, and I had to go find out, but I had a passion for it. I knew what I was doing. What I'm doing today, I knew I wanted to do since I was 5 years old. Seriously, that's not bragging about it. It's just like I knew, but I had to go find it. And it was compassionate of others, people that helped me. And I said to myself, that's where I learned to give back from them who gave to me. And it's a tough world. It's a tough business we're in. It's like being a star athlete in college and you didn't make the NBA or the NFL. It's like that. That's the chances you have. That's the percentage you have working against you. Not that you're not good. Not that somebody else is always better. But but you learn and you fall on the ground, but it was the compassion of others that gave to me, and I just took it, and I believe in that, and I believe in helping others. I believe in helping the next generation, because like we said, like you said, somebody mentioned about the world, but I think the world right now needs a rest, man. It needs more compassionate people. The world right now needs a rest, good or bad, whatever politics you believe in. The world needs a rest and shut up, and let's all move on with our life, man. And I don't care about In the old days, there's two things you never talked about was religion and politics and business, because it didn't have a place in it, and I still believe in that. And but to go back to that, I think the world needs a rest. The world needs half of the world needs more compassion, and they're not willing to give it, man. Where the other half, I believe we got to stay strong and fight it back, you know. And
I agree.
I don't mean to sound so black and white, but that's you know, you mentioned the
I mean,
world.
look, it is what it is, right? And some of the things that we're touching is not a friendly conversation or a conversation that's had too often, but I feel like it's a conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah,
Right? And John, I love how you said it, like seek to understand first, right? Like how many wars or problems would be solved if we would just listen to each other first? It's just kind of gets ridiculous over time.
World War One was started over freaking a bet, an argument. Someone lost a bet. That's where all those people were killed, massacred. With tear
Imagine,
gas. I mean, it was over someone, two people. I just say there's two white people who, who just said, hey, I disagree with you, and boom, that was how World War I started.
you know,
So,
and ego gets into the play. Like,
oh my God.
if we were to understand that giving compassion, offering support, caring for one another, these things you would think that would be common sense, right?
Yeah.
But I heard a saying, common sense is sometimes misunderstood as a genius idea.
Yeah,
Mm,
it's true. That's so true.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and Frank, you talked about before, right? It's like it's like humble, be humble or be humbled, right? And so as men,
fact.
when we're talking about compassion, sometimes it doesn't come as easy for some as it does to others, right? But again, it's kind of common sense, right? Do to others what you would like to be done for you. And so, as we're rounding third base, I think that Reverend Bolivar was having a technical issue. We're kind of hitting that final thoughts segment of the portion. I hope he can come on to kind of finish the show with us. And so kind of staying in that speaker rotation, Giandi, what are some of your final thoughts when it comes to the power within compassion?
First off, Frank's called me a word. What was it, Reverend?
Reverend,
Reverend?
Reverend.
How you
Yeah,
spell that? Reven?
yeah. D, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up. But yeah, I just about compassion. It's all within, and I love like just listening to Frank. He touched a lot of key things, and I'll recommend an audio for everybody. The Strangest Secret. The Strangest Secret. Earl Nightingale talks about humans don't use 3% of our brains, bro. So when you think, it's like you're more logical, and that's where EQ comes in. We have to be logical, and we have to think about the longer. Like life is not a sprint; it's a marathon. We could be here today, we could be gone tomorrow. You could hurt somebody today, but what about tomorrow? So we just gotta think, man. And he said he created. He did what he did in his life because he wanted it. His willpower, his why was so strong. And I don't compete. I don't know who mentioned. I heard the word compete earlier, but it's about creating, man. And
Totally,
it's
totally.
just compassion is just within. Like that within is the key. That was the key word, and it's because in the Bible, as earlier, I actually like heard an audio because I just love educating myself. I'm a student to life. It said, "As a man thinketh, you are a man is what he thinks about all day long." So you are the quality of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. So what are you thinking? But everything starts within, man. Like be, do, have. Everybody wants to have uh all the amazing possessions, the materialistic stuff, blah blah yada yada yada. But it's about be. Who are you? What do you want to be? What do you want to be remembered as? And my final thoughts is, man, thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure speaking to you, Frank. Hopefully, it's not the last time we speak. And just round table is amazing. Everything you got going on, bro. Like we could go on and on for days
We
with
can go
talking.
forever, man.
Huh?
We can
Hey,
go on forever, man.
Of
we
course.
can set up a round two, in a little bit, and just kind of debrief and kind of reset ourselves, talk a little bit about where we are in that time of life. John Lee, thank you so much. You brought a ton of value. Don't go anywhere. Kick it with me and the afterglow. Frank, as we're anchoring us in, what are your final thoughts on the power within compassion?
To bounce off of agenda because he's feeding me. So the thing is, um, um, Anthony, I met. This won't be the last time that we talk, because through Anthony I met some really very interesting people, very good people, of all levels, no matter where, and where everyone's responsive to each other and helping each other, that kind of thing. So I thank Anthony for having me here. I thank Anthony for introducing me to both of you, and because we will go on, and the thing is, I think to anchor this out is it's responsibility. It's our responsibility. And some people you want to give compassion to, they don't want it. You don't have to give it. It's a responsibility. It's like some people don't want it, and there's some people you just cannot help, and you got to understand that responsibility. Say, okay, I can walk away from this and be okay. Okay, I can walk away and give where I'm needed or where I'm wanted to someone else who wants it or needs it, and I look for that in other people. I like listening. I like learning, and I'm not interested in being like, oh, okay, wait, whatever, yeah, whatever, yeah, you're doing this, okay, I don't want to talk about everything about me or my work, or I want to talk about what are you doing, man? What can we do together, or just be friends or whatever. Like you guys talk about working out. I work out all the time. You know how many friends I met just working out? And nobody knows what we all do. We're just in the gym working out. Say, hey, brother, how you doing? Oh yeah, good to see you again. Hey, what are you working on today? And it's responsibility for ourselves. We must have it first, and then you can give it. And you don't have to please the world. Please believe me. You don't have to please the world, because there's some people who just don't want you to please them. And that's a recognition you have to take within yourself. And if once you have that, to be alone sometimes, I tell people, because I hear people sometimes, like I have a daughter and stuff, and I say, and she one time she was all alone. She goes, I'm alone. I said, she was going through a major work thing that went south on her, and then she would and I had to leave her because she was in Burbank. Thank God I was there to help her go through it, but then I knew I had to go home back to New York, and I said to her, I said, listen. She goes, now I'm going to be alone. I said, be alone. Take the time to be alone, because that's what you're going to learn about yourself. That's the best time you're going to learn what happened. That's the best time you're going to for yourself. I can't fix it for you. You can fix it. You can learn what happened. Learn who you are in this. Why are you feeling so hurt by that? And then and she did that. I mean, you have to. Don't be afraid to be alone. I mean, now I'm not. When I say that, I say carefully. I don't mean like I'm going to be alone and I want to reach out to people and I want to be with people. Then okay, then go be with people. I'm not saying be alone. I'm saying, but it's okay to be alone, because to me, that's where we learn compassion for yourself. That's where you give it back to you, and then I can, in retrospect, I can think about what I'm going. That's how I learn to be myself, and so therefore I'm being compassionate to myself within, like you said, within. And then I could be able to come here and share it with you guys. If I didn't have that experience or I didn't understand that, how can I say that to you with passion, with truth, So I think I'll anchor off with that. It's responsibility, and don't be afraid to be alone. It's good to be alone. That's who you find out who you are. And then when you want to be with people, that's what's great about being in New York in my business is in New York City, you want to be alone. You want to be seen, you go out and you be seen. You don't want to be seen, you don't have to be seen. You can hide away, you can go, but you're not hiding away. I mean, you're taking care of what you need to take care of for yourself. So I bless both of you, all three of you, and I'm glad I was able to share this conversation with you. I haven't had a conversation like this in a long time.
I'm glad. It's therapeutic.
Open up. Yeah.
And we understand that Reverend Bolivar was facing a little bit of adversity, and we'll do a makeup on his final thoughts. But tonight, we talked about compassion as an action. We encourage you to take a moment to pause before you react and treat others how you would like to be treated. Like, this is an old mantra that a lot of us know. And I always like to close the show with the quote of the show. And tonight it's by Dalai Lama. And it says, compassion and tolerance are not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. Go in grace, go in peace. Thanks for watching. Again, this is Anthony Rosa. You're watching another show on the Roundtable Remedies. See you soon.
God bless.
God bless.